everyone. This is Melissa Ramos from Sexy Food Therapy, and I'm crazy excited for another preview remodel sexy talk. And this one really hits a soft spot with me because I am interviewing Katrina Love Senn. And I actually met Katrina as we just finished talking about when was the last time we saw each other? 3 years ago, when I met her at Sunflower Yoga Retreats. In the heart of a really beautiful, cute town in Italy. And she has such a massive impact on my life. And I just couldn't help but to resist to include her in the panel of experts because she has so much wealth of knowledge and such a different approach that I think that I couldn't resist then to share her wisdom and knowledge and beauty and everything else with you guys. So thank you, Katrina, so much for participating in this.
Yeah, thanks for asking me to be a part of Remodel Sexy. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for those of people like sort of tuning in right now, because this preview talk is going not only to the paid subscribers, but also to people who haven't signed up yet and might not know about Remodel Sexy, but maybe you can help people understand what it is that you do and, what you're sort of bringing to the table with Remodel Sexy.
Yeah, great. Well, as you said, Melissa, I met you in Italy, and what many people don't know about me when they see me today in my work as a yoga teacher and a healer is that just days before my 20th birthday, my body completely collapsed, and my life was very, very different from how it is today. I was struggling with self-esteem. I was struggling with trying to lose weight. I'd tried all the different diets. I absolutely loved food and I hated exercise. So the whole dieting model was just such a big challenge for me. And, I tried as many times as I could to lose weight, but each time it was a dismal failure. And I guess with each failed diet, my self-esteem went lower and lower. So, when I really, running up to those days just before my birthday, it was, my self-esteem was low. My body was 60 pounds heavier than what it is today. So, so it was really through my own challenge, through my own hardship and my own struggle with my weight loss and with myself. That was.
And you could have gone really the conventional route in terms of healing, but you sort of decided to go more of a natural approach, correct?
Yeah. So what happened was when I got really sick, I was actually overseas at the time. I woke up one morning, I couldn't even move my legs, my arms, I couldn't even open my eyes. The doctors pretty much put me on the first flight back home to be picked up at the airport by my mum and taken back home and had to be spoon-fed pretty much by my mum. So back home in New Zealand, my doctors ran all the tests and they pretty much wanted to put me on a conventional path. They really recommended medication. When I asked them what was wrong with me, they didn't really know. And just something within me, it was like, well, if you don't know what's wrong with me, how can you give me medication? And I think the sort of icing on the cake was when I said, well, how long will I need to be on medication for? And they said, well, possibly for life. And just something within me, my intuition just said, no, there's got to be another way. So I pretty much refused the medication. And then I was like, holy smokes, now what?
Yeah.
My body's, I'm sick, and I had to leave university at that stage. But it's almost like through our challenges, through our obstacles, it starts to open different doorways. And that was, as you say, like when I started to learn about a natural approach to healing.
Yeah.
So it was really the moment I stopped dieting and started to really approach life through how can I heal my body? How can I add nutrients into my body? How can I start to look, not only heal my body physically, but also start to look internally as well.
And that's something that, I find that it's interesting because with body image, I know that we sort of communicate a little bit back and forth through Facebook and some of my posts and so forth, and your posts and everything. We're always commenting back and forth. But even, the last recent post I spoke about in terms of compulsive eating, in my philosophy about compulsive eating and how that affects our body image. And then there's Janine Roth who wrote Women, Food and God, or Women Food and God, or Women, God and Food, one or the other. But it's interesting. So I kind of want to get your take on, our connection with food, and how that impacts our body image, and what can we do as women to be able to sort of reverse it and change it into more of a positive one.
Yeah, I think this is a great question, and I think what's really happened and what I really started to understand through my personal journey was how disconnected I had become from myself. And really my healing journey was all about reconnecting back to my body, reconnecting back to my mind. And what I realized is that I'd been living pretty much from my neck upwards, and almost like forgetting that I had a body. It was a very big revelationary moment when I realized, like, gosh, I have a body, I live in this body, but I'm just so disconnected from it. And so I think with emotional eating, there is such wisdom within our bodies, and emotional eating is, when I guess the approach that I take with it is that the body is, there's a body wisdom within us, and when we're disconnected from that, we override it with stimulants, sugar, caffeine, alcohol, drugs, whatever our addiction of choice is. Sure. And really, actually, what I like to do with emotional eating is to really embrace it. And I know that's quite unconventional in the normal, perhaps more traditional model. But as soon as I start to crave something, perhaps if it's sugar or coffee, I know that that's a moment where that emotional eating, or that call for emotional eating, or that craving, is actually a call for emotional healing. So it's a chance for me to go deeper and start to reconnect with, okay, what am I really feeling? Like, what am I feeling, but I'm not wanting to admit, or not conscious of at the moment. So emotional eating is, for me, it's a chance to become more conscious of those feelings and the thoughts that are going on internally that I'm perhaps wanting to suppress down.
Totally, and I think that's really an interesting point, because and as yourself, like I believe, very much talk a lot about emotional eating and how to emotionally eat the right way through Chinese medical principles. And I know you're just, for me, I wish you lived in Toronto, because you are by far my favorite yoga teacher I've ever had, bar none. But, aside from just, the yoga and the philosophy and so forth, like, you've just got all these different sort of, like, modalities. Like, I know that you practice emotional freedom technique on me when I was with you. That really, it was about, like, connecting into your body. And we talked, and obviously you talk a lot about food because of your journey that you've had. But even, like, emotional eating, when I think about it, Janine Roth was talking a lot about how it's our way of bolting. Compulsive eating is bolting, like leaving the situation. And while I'd like to think that is true to some degree, I think that we can really, do you believe that we can turn to our food and see it sort of as a reflection of ourselves?
Absolutely. It's like a mirror. And as we become more conscious of how amazing and how great each and every single one of us really is, we can start to make different choices, not only in food. I mean, food is definitely a part of it, but we start to make different choices in our relationships. We start to make different choices in our work environments. And it's all about nourishing. Like, how do we really nourish our bodies? How do we nourish our minds? And then also, how do we nourish our spirits? And when we're coming from that place of nourishment and really filling ourselves up, that energy overflows, and it overflows out to other people. And so giving out to other people, it's almost like we're radiating out an energy or love, that people can just sense. And I think what happens is when we become disconnected from our minds or our bodies or our passions or our values, we deplete ourselves. And so when we deplete ourselves, how do we give back to our jobs? How do we give back to our partners, our friends? I like to think of it like a well. And if a well is full, it's easy to take a cup and to give a cup of water away. But if there's nothing in the well, it's like we're giving from ourselves, and then it almost like becomes to a place of resentment. And it's like we're not. And for me, it's always a reminder to start putting myself first, or for my clients to start putting themselves first. So we've just got to make sure that well is full, and that comes back to really simple, basic principles. So I think, what you're saying before, Melissa, about the media, you can't go past a magazine rack without being inundated with the way that we should look, the way that supermodels look, the way that fashion is this year, and there's all these expectations placed upon women which are totally unrealistic and damaging. So I think it's about breaking free of all those stereotypes and turning the question back to ourselves, like how do we start to really look within and nourish ourselves, and food's such a great place to start.
Absolutely. So if you had to, and I'm super excited to do this talk with you, because we're really I'm gonna dive deep with you so much more, because you had, this Remodel Sexy Week, for those of you out there, Katrina's going to be providing so much more of her wisdom and insight. But just to give you, a background on me, when I had seen Katrina when I was at the yoga retreat, I was really in a pretty frazzled and hard emotional place at the time, a spiritual place at the time, that I really was struggling with a lot when I had seen you. I still get goosebumps even thinking about it, because it really did, you really did change my life. Because prior to seeing you, I was just I was a wreck, and I was not sure of my career, I was not sure of my own confidence in myself, and my body image, everything was just I was at one of my lowest points when I had come to see you, and I really felt lifted after I did. I felt so much lighter just from so many different levels. So I guess, walking away from this preview talk, if there is a woman out there who is looking at this, and she is struggling with weight, and she's feeling really low, and and thinking I'd love to be able to eat better and exercise more, but I just don't feel motivated to do it. And I know there are things I should do, and I know that I hear about all the stuff I should do, but I don't know where to start, and where do you get the energy? What sort of actionable takeaway can you give to someone walking away from this?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing is that we have to start developing our toolbox for healing, and there are so many different tools that we can use to heal ourselves, and they're not taught in school, they're not taught in, if you didn't get taught them in your family, it's possible that we can get right into our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, and even beyond, and not even know that these simple tools are available. So some of the tools that I work with women all over the world, helping them to really come back to themselves, is self-talk, affirmations, visualizations, really starting to, and we've heard it before, affirmations, visualizations, but we've heard, the interesting thing about affirmations that I find is that we are already doing affirmations. So it's about starting to become conscious of the stories that we're telling ourselves, which ones, going a little bit deeper, which ones are helpful, which ones are limiting. And so the limiting stories are the ones that hold the gold for us, because they're the ones that we can really sit with and really start to look into, because they hold the key for our transformation. So
I think that's really interesting that you say that, because some people will look and go, oh God, affirmations, really? But to be honest with you, if you think about it and really are conscious of what is going through your mind to begin with, when you're I suck, I'm not pretty enough, blah, blah, blah. These are all affirmations. They're just in the negative sense. So we're already doing it as it is. So why not actually create it into a positive one where it's then we're sort of reprogramming, right?
Totally, exactly.
So affirmations would be a takeaway that you're saying, that would help to sort of start to change that mind structure, build that toolbox that you're describing. And then I guess from a food perspective, what can people do to sort of get motivated?
Well, I think the big thing, a lot of people, when I'm running my workshops, probably one of the biggest questions that comes up is, what should I eat? And I think this is such an interesting question, because we're coming up against belief systems, and also the other thing is that we're coming up about really stepping into that place of recognizing that each and every single one of us is totally unique. So I know for me, I was looking for the perfect diet. I was looking for the diet to lose weight, and what I realized is and one of my aha moments is that there is absolutely no one diet. The diet that's right for me is totally going to be wrong for somebody else.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the first thing to realize, and you'll know that with your Chinese medicine, Melissa, is, each and every single one of us is completely different. And so really starting to understand how amazing our bodies are, and how amazing that we are, is probably one of the first places that we can start. And just starting to learn all the different, there are lots of different healing systems, and we just have to find the one that works for us. I think that's the big thing, is the one that works, is the best one is the one that we can do. Like, a lot of people ask me, should I go on a juicing detox, or should I do this, should I do that? The real question is, do the one that works for you. If you love chocolate, you have to embrace, or have to find a way of eating that allows you to eat chocolate.
Totally. And all of us would love to have a little bit more, couldn't we?
Exactly.
Well, Katrina, I could pick your brain and give away everything, because really, like, I could talk to you for hours. Like, you're just such a wealth of information. Help people understand, because you are just up there in the charts there with Amazon. So congratulations, because tell us a little bit about your book that I know has, you put a lot of heart and passion and soul into this book, and this is sort of a freebie giveaway thing you're doing, and help me understand, or people to understand what it's all about.
Yeah, so for anyone who's listening to this interview, I'm giving away my 5 steps to transformation, and that's a 5-day audio course which really just helps you to really step onto the path of looking at your life, and then looking at what it is that you want to change, and then giving you some really easy step-by-step ways to go about making those changes. Mm-hmm. And then for those people who want to take it to the next level and join us on the Remodel Sexy program, we're going to be giving away 3 copies of my book, Losing Weight is a Healing Journey. Here it is here. And it shows you the story. I don't know if you can see it, but this is me 60 pounds heavier than what I am today. So It's my before and after photo. So it's got my story, and then it's broken down into 7 step-by-step ways that you can get onto the path of healing your body, healing your mind, and then getting started on your own healing journey. So so this book is, if you're ready to lose weight, and really it's almost like going well beyond the traditional model of dieting, throwing that in the bin, and getting started on the path to healing. This is the book to really help you get started. So.
Amazing. And this is really, like, this is such a huge, amazing gift, that Katrina's putting out there for people who are going to be subscribing to Remodel Sexy. So it's only available to those who have subscribed. So it's sexyfoodtherapy.com/remodel-sexy, but there'll be a little title and super on this video, so you guys will all can follow that along. But thank you so much for that, because your journey and your story is just amazing, and I can't wait to be able to spend a lot more time in talking to you, because we're going to have almost a full hour to really pick your brain and get right into it and answer people's questions. And I know a lot of people are excited about this, so thank you so much for taking the time out to do this, because you have a real special place in my heart, for sure.
Melissa, it's a total honour, and I'm really looking forward to being on the call, and looking forward to giving away 3 books to 3 lucky Remodel Sexy winners. So
wonderful. Thank you so much, Katrina, and have yourself a wonderful day, and thank you everybody for tuning into this, and please again join Remodel Sexy, and you'll be able to talk to Katrina and a boatload of other experts coming up from April 16th to the 20th. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care and have yourself a healthy, happy, and sexy day. Thanks, Katrina. Bye.
Bye. See you. Thanks, Melissa.